Alright, buckle up. We're diving into Christopher Nolan's mind-bending classic Inception, and the theory that Cobb, yes, Cobb, is still in a dream at the end of the movie. But first, a quick funny anecdote before we dive deep into dream layers. So I was walking across a bridge this morning when I was suddenly confronted by a troll. Not one of those mythical under-the-bridge types, but a weird guy in a hoodie who asked me for my mother's maiden name. And I'm like, dude, I barely remember my own maiden name. I mean, come on, I don't even remember my Wi-Fi password half the time, and now I'm expected to recall some 20-year-old bit of trivia? Anyway, moral of the story, always double-check your security questions. And also, maybe don't cross bridges near sketchy Wi-Fi spots. But hey, back to Inception, where the only thing more twisted than the plot is the way Hans Zimmer plays with your mind through sound. So here's the big theory. And trust me, it's a doozy. Cobb's still dreaming. Yep, that's right. The whole movie's one giant inception within an inception. But here's where it gets extra trippy. The theory revolves around the fact that Nolan and Zimmer used Edith Piaf's song Non Je ne regrette rien in the score. And I mean, not just in the background. It's kind of crucial to understanding what's going on in the movie. The music clue. Slow it down, way down. Okay, stick with me here because this part is going to make you rethink the entire film. In Inception, the music Zimmer composed is essentially just a slowed-down version of Piaf's iconic track. And I don't mean just a little slow. No, this thing is like glacial. We're talking tortoise on a lazy Sunday afternoon slow. So, remember that one haunting wah sound that's so ingrained in the film's soundtrack? Yeah, that's the song. Slow. But why does that matter? Time in dreams moves slower the deeper you go, right? And that's exactly what Zimmer's doing with Piaf's song. It's a representation of the time distortion that happens in each dream layer. Each bwah is like a reminder that the further you go down into the dream world, the slower everything gets. Basically, that kick sound you hear when they're trying to wake up from each layer, it's not just a neat sound design detail. It's a clue. Now, what does that have to do with Cobb still being stuck in a dream? Everything. Because if the music you're hearing is just a slowed version of Piaf's song, it suggests Cobb's time is still dilated. He's hearing the kick at a layer even slower than he realizes. It's like the movie's telling you, hey, maybe you're not quite awake yet, buddy. Cobb's top. Not really a totem? Now let's talk about the top. Remember Cobb's totem? The spinning top that's supposed to help him figure out if he's dreaming or not? Well, there's a catch. It's not even his totem anymore. You heard me right. The top used to belong to Mal, Cobb's wife. So technically, he's been relying on a totem that's symbolic, not functional. In other words, the top isn't giving him the answers it once did. Cobb doesn't know if the top is going to fall or not. It spins, it wobbles, and that's it. And as the camera pans away from the top at the end of the movie, we never get the answer. We don't know if it's going to keep spinning, or if it's about to topple over and reveal the truth. Now, if we're following the theory that Cobb's still in the dream, this could all be part of him accepting that he's still in a dream world. He's found a reality that feels emotionally satisfying, where he can see his kids' faces, where everything seems perfect. But that perfection? It's just one layer deeper than he realizes. Time ratios. So how does this all work? Alright, so let's break down the time ratios. Inception is basically a physics lesson wrapped in a psychological thriller, so here's how the dream layers work. Time moves normally, like it does for us in the waking world. Dream layer 1, time moves 6x slower than the real world. You can have a whole dream within a dream that feels like hours, while only a few minutes pass in the real world. Now we're talking. Time moves 12x slower than the real world. That's a solid stretch of time, and it makes sense why Cobb and his team are always stressing about their missions. They're fighting against time distortions every step of the way. Dream layer 3. This is where it gets trippy. Time slows down even more, an additional 24x slower than the previous layer. So, every minute in this layer is like a day in the layer above it. Imagine living out a lifetime while your real body's only been asleep for an hour. Now, think about the Piaf song again. The slowdowns in Zimmer's score are designed to echo these time differences. The deeper the dream layer, the slower the tempo. So by the time Cobb's in his final layer, when he's facing that emotional closure with his kids, the sound design is trying to tell us, hey, time is still moving slower than you think. Cobb's still in a dream. Cobb's realization. So what's the deal with Cobb's emotional resolution at the end? Why does it feel so satisfying? Well, because it's a dream Cobb has accepted. He doesn't care if it's real anymore. He's found peace. But here's the catch. This could still be the dream that's perfect for him. The world he's in is too emotionally fulfilling. Everything's too convenient. It all lines up too nicely for Cobb to actually be awake. In fact, if you listen closely, the film's sound design is subtly whispering that this is still a dream world. And that's the beauty of Inception. Nolan never gives us a clear answer. He leaves us with an ambiguous ending, with that top spinning and spinning, and we're left to ask, is Cobb awake? Or is he still in that final, perfect dream layer? Wrapping it all up. So, what does this all mean? Well, if we're taking the theory seriously, Cobb never wakes up. He's still trapped in that perfect dream layer, living out a life where he's finally reunited with his kids. And honestly, after all that trauma, can you blame him for staying there? Before I sign off, remember, like that troll under the bridge, Inception has a few identity-stealing twists of its own. If you loved this breakdown, or if you've ever crossed a bridge only to be asked your mother's maiden name by some shady character, like this video. If you're still trying to figure out whether Cobb is dreaming or not, subscribe because I've got a ton more theories like this. And share this with someone who can't stop spinning a top while they try to fall asleep. As always, stay curious, stay skeptical, and stay away from identity-stealing trolls. See you next time, dreamers.